Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Women's Wellness Network. I suppose some people it's not morning, like our guest today, Roxeanne Hardenburg. She's not from North America. Good morning, Roxeanne. Can you tell us a
Good
little bit about
morning.
yourself and where you are in the world?
Yes, absolutely. I am South African, as you can hear by my accent. I'm not from New Zealand or Australia. And I am currently living up northeast in Scotland, Bonnie, Scotland, in the United Kingdom.
That is amazing. That's quite that's a big transition going from hot and dry to
Absolutely.
cold and
Absolutely.
damp.
Yeah, I met my husband in South Africa, and we got married, and then he took 4 years to bring me over, and eventually I caved and I said, okay, let's do it.
That's awesome. That's good. It's good to feel the vibe of the planet in different areas. It helps you.
Oh, of course. I've lived in the UK before twice, two other times. I lived in Ireland and then I lived in England. So this has been another third time to the UK, but by far the best.
Third time the charm, so they say.
There you go.
So, could you please tell us a little bit about the work that you do?
Yes. So I left a career in corporate business, IT, analytics, data, online, that type of world, technology. I was doing that for 2 decades. And I moved away from that and started working with humans to help them heal their body. And that really did stem from my own personal experience. Should I dive into that very quickly?
Absolutely, yes. Like I say, the more,
Yeah, so we immigrated December 31st, 2019 for a better life here in the UK. Obviously, lo and behold, we all didn't know what was up ahead. And when lockdown hit, it was, traumatic for everybody. For me, especially on a whole different level, because I was stuck between two borders as an immigrant waiting for my working visa. Couldn't go back home to South Africa because the borders were locked, and was stranded here without any way to earn an income. And so survival mode kicked in, and I've always got a contingency. I've got a backup plan for my backup plan. And for once in my life, I didn't have one. And having stage 4 endometriosis, I was diagnosed in 2003 already, as well as having chronic IBS from a young child. Even though I was able to keep those conditions at bay and live a almost normal life, the stress of lockdown and being stuck in a foreign country with no support just really mounted, and I landed up in hospital in July 2020, and things got really, really bad. Ovarian cysts is also something else I battled with from the endometriosis, and one actually burst, and that took me to the hospital. And because of the procedure, because of lockdown and the pandemic and regulations, they basically said, well, there's nothing we can do. We can't give you treatment. We can't give you surgery, which was my normal out. He has some more medication, pharmaceutical medications for the pain, and sent me back home. And that actually forced me into a corner. And for those that know me, if I'm in a corner, I'll get out. I'll do anything to get out. And it forced me to look into finding alternative ways to heal my body, just to relieve myself from the pain. I wasn't into human healing, couldn't have been further from that. But because the painkillers actually stopped working, I got very desperate. Like, for the first time ever, I was like ready to tap out. I'm not someone that gives up easily. And so, yeah, long story short, I didn't sleep for almost 6 months. I was bedridden because of all the pain. And so I had me, the time, and the internet. And because I'm really good at finding the facts, I took to the books, researched every day, practiced a whole lot of approaches. And I'm a healer by nature, I'd like to say. Even in my 20s, I was into Chinese medicine, homeopathic medicine. I always knew that natural worked better for the body because it helped me better. And so I was already on that journey, sort of, but then it really took a whole another turn. And within 7 months, I reached full remission. I completely was free of a whole bunch of health issues because of all the pain meds, pharmaceutical medication, eating gluten-free labeled products, lactose-free labeled products, which are loaded with things that create inflammation. I learned how to undo everything and do everything completely differently. And I was almost free of every issue that I had. That was also my liver. I had non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. I had leaky gut syndrome, just all those, like comorbidity, really, because when one thing starts to break down in the body, everything else gets affected, kind of like a car that you don't service for a very long time. And by February 2021, I was in my element, and I shared it on Facebook. I'm not really someone who shares my life online, and it went viral. And before I knew it, I was hosting a challenge for a bunch of women in Zoom. And I was like, look, I'm not a doctor. You're doing this for free because I can't really charge you anyway. Otherwise, I would have gotten deported. Not that I would have been able to go back home because my borders were locked, but I didn't want to get into any kind of trouble. So I said, guys, it's a free challenge. I'll teach you what I did, and I don't know if it'll work. And it worked for everybody. And they all had different health issues. They had different ages, different stages in their cycle. And at the time, it was women only because obviously it was endometriosis. And then from then, it just birthed into a program. I was like, well, this is amazing. Who else can I help? Because within 4 weeks, these women were losing 10, 15 kilos. And it's not a weight loss program. When you figure out how to detox the body, it shrinks naturally and then it'll eventually stop shrinking. That the body is very intelligent. And so everybody was raving and it just spread like wildfire. And I was like, well, you know what? This has chosen me. I'm going to have to do this because if I can help heal the world one human at a time, why not? And so I ditched everything else that I knew and started a company, Essential Pharmaceuticals, F for Farm, because I'm in partnership with Mother Nature. And I've just been teaching that ever since. And now I help men as well because we all have one thing in common, and that's the gut. And by working on healing my gut first in 2020, because that's where the pain was, my IBS, I mean, it just was ridiculous. I realized after I got all my results, I had to then reverse engineer it and go, well, how can I put this into something that I can teach? Because I don't even know how I did what I did, but I know I did it. And I then came to learn about the connection with the gut and everything else. Hormones are regulated in the gut or metabolized. Everything is linked to the gut. So if you fix the gut, everything else comes right. And so I was like, well, I guess I can help men too. And so today that's what I do.
Well, that's amazing. That's awesome. I I'm
Thank
sure
you.
the men are actually quite happy that you've decided to help both because it's
Yes, because I was turning away quite a few purely because I'm a women's health transformation strategist. And I was like, well, hang on. I had IBS for way longer. I don't like to say no to anybody that I can help. I'm just natural. I'm an empath that way. And if I can help you, I'm going to help you. And so, yes, the men are now very happy that my blueprint is actually available to them as well. So, yeah. So I work with nutrition. I help individuals understand based on testing their DNA with a home testing kit. Anywhere that DHL can find you, I can collect your sample. And then I'm able to analyze what's going on in your gut. And by doing that, I can tell you exactly what you're eating that's normally healthy foods that's actually creating inflammation in your gut. But you're none the wiser because you don't feel those symptoms. And when you lock it in on a personal level, because we're all different,
Mhm.
you lock it in on a personal level, you're able to fast track your results. So if you had to ask me, what am I? I'm a fast track health hacker. I'm all around saving you time, energy, and money because, well, life is ticking quickly. And so that's where I came to learn about the power of using botanicals, but in a concentrated version. We all know them as essential oils, not the ones that are nice to make your home smell great, but ones that you can actually use internally under strict supervision. They actually help just speed up the process, which is great because if you can heal within a month versus a year, and you can actually start reversing your age, because I've tested myself as well. I had my inflammation markers tested in November 2022 to just really see like tangible data, because a picture says 1,000 words and if you or 1,000 things, but if you see on my profile, I have shared before and after, and it's pretty incredible. However, it's great to have that data to say, well, actually, I'm healing like someone in their 20s because the body can do that once you understand it.
Incredible. Wow, that's crazy. That's great.
It is actually every time I say it, I wow myself. Like, did I just say
Yeah.
all that? But I'm not the magic. I wish I could take the credit. I'm just the person with the light, the guiding light. And I figured it out. But we are born in a miracle. Our body's
Wow.
a miracle.
I've never heard of anybody doing going as far as using the DNA. That is amazing. How did you decide that that was a good option?
So during lockdown, I didn't really have many resources. None of us had access to those types of things, and I would get amazing results. Like I reached full remission, as I mentioned, but then I would like slide back a bit, and I'd be like, "Well, hang on, something's missing." And I'm just very I'm very connected to that inner voice, and I'm well. Maybe I should look into that. Maybe I should look into that. And then the moment lockdown lifted, I was like, "Well, hang on, why don't I test myself and see exactly what my guts, how do I even know what I'm actually doing is really right for my body. And it was just an instinct. And so I researched a bunch of labs, a bunch of tests. I tried so many different things. I really invested a lot of money. And then I eventually locked it in with a lab that does one test, which pretty much tells you exactly what your gut is like inside, what bacteria strains you're missing, because a probiotic isn't the same as another one. What vitamins and minerals you're actually deficient in, because even though I was getting great results, I wasn't optimized. Something was missing. And when I tested, it's a hair test by resonance, because you can't actually get deep data from urine and blood like you can from your hair. Different things. You test different types of DNA for different types of biomarkers. And it came back to say that I was deficient in a whole lot of vitamins. And so because I'm a researcher, I researched the link between certain symptoms that I was still experiencing. And it was directly connected to that specific vitamin or mineral that I was deficient in. And I was like, well, it's a no-brainer. And then I was like, well, this is going to help me get back on track quicker. And then I didn't relapse anymore after that. Yes, I got COVID. I'm not vaccinated by choice. I believe the immune system can strengthen itself. And so I locked it in. And since then, I haven't had those issues, and it just made sense. I'm a logical person that way. And then I gave the test to all my clients and we locked it in, and then everyone got results so much quicker. And I was like really excited then, because I mean, if you can fast track your healing results and completely be in remission or live pain free, I'm not saying this is a cure to anybody listening. I'm not saying it's a cure, but if you can live pain free, symptom free every day for as long as you can, well, you can call it what you want, because that's the optimal living, really. And so that DNA test just locked it in, because now you're aiming with accuracy. You're not just saying, hey, take this vitamin because it's really good for you. Or you're actually completely personalizing it. And that was the missing link.
Yeah, I like that. That's it seems like a whole new way of kind of figuring things out. And
Yeah.
I've not heard of anybody doing this before. So
Well, top functional medicine experts, Dr. Mark Hyman, Dr. Joshua Axe, all these guys that I've got all their books, and I live by, all their principles and methodologies. Only, I think, quote me if I'm wrong, but maybe 2-3 years ago, did they start also looking at those types of biomarkers. And so that was affirmation for me. I was like, yes, I'm on the right track. But I was already doing it. So I was like, yes, I'm already doing that. Yes. So it makes sense. I mean, they charge like $15,000 and up for those types of programs, because, hey, it gets results. But I'm able to obviously help people at a lot less. So yeah, I'm excited for the future. It means that I can help anybody with any health issue. Apart from growing a limb back, unless you're a lizard, I can't help you with that. But if you're human and you have health issues, or just even not sleeping well, a lot of the time it's the healthy things that you're doing. It's the exercising all the time. That's really bad for a woman, especially. That's the difference between men and women, because men are on a 24-hour cycle, women are on a 30-day cycle. Whether you're menopausal, menstrual, we still have hormones, ladies. And so I had to then learn what is a hormone. I didn't even know what that was. I just knew I had too much estrogen. And then I came to learn hormones are signals, and they're just at the moment talking foreign languages to one another, and certain things in our environment and our food set off our hormones. And so hell, it's been quite a journey over the last 4 years, but I've brought it down to what I'd like to think is a simple approach, something that anybody and everybody can do. I just give them a daily routine guide. It's now available on a mobile app as well, so I'm super excited about that. And you can just follow it, stick to it, and within 7 days, you start seeing incredible results when you stop eating things that are clogging up your liver, just really not helping you. Food is food. Let food be thy medicine, but food will either heal you or harm you. So I educate. A lot of what I do is educate. I give you the blueprint based on your DNA, and then I educate you along the way.
right. Yeah, that's wow. I'm thinking like all these little things that we think we're doing so good for ourselves, and they're potentially harming us, and we don't even know. Like, that's not even fair. Like,
it's not fair. And without pointing fingers, because we don't really need to do that, it's the big brands that are just, unfortunately, it's a business.
yeah.
And that's just how it is. But the food system's broken, and that comes from when we were at school, early 80s, the way it was taught to us. And that stemmed from I mean, that was a whole system that was put together because of poverty and how can we make food cheaper. And so at the time it worked. But then it became a business, and we lost a lot of nutrients along the way. But the body's pretty incredible. So it's not a diet, because a lot of people go, oh, I don't know if I can cut all my favorite things. Guys, I'm South African. We love meat. We love bread. We love alcoholic beverages. I mean, I eat what I want, but I'm wise now. I know that not every loaf of bread is a loaf of bread.
Mm.
Milk is not milk is not milk. And so it's a matter of finding out exactly how to dodge the dangerous stuff so that you can still live your life to the fullest. It's a lifestyle, it's not a diet.
Yeah, well, that is the thing, right? Learning a new way and going by it and sticking by it. And if you do it long enough, you see results. I know a lot of
Yes.
people get frustrated and they're like, oh,
I
I'm not.
think the frustration comes in because I was always up and down with yo-yo diets, because part of my journey with hormones is I would always gain weight and then I'd lose it, and back and forth, the norm, right?
Yeah.
And I think for me, what was most exciting is when I got those results so quickly. Within 6 weeks, I noticed the pain shift. Like, I mean, I had a severed spinal cord. 2011, I had a back up and was paralyzed from the waist down, told I'd never walk again. Normally, I mean, I'm 100% mobile. I've done some incredible healing. But when you go from extreme pain 24/7, like there's no place that you can sit, lie, stand, you're constantly being it's like a woodpecker's just going at you constantly. It's just, yeah, you can't even breathe without anxiety. And when all of a sudden in 6 weeks you are able to sleep through the nights, you don't have that pain anymore, you start shrinking, and you're eating more than you ever used to. That's the thing. People don't eat enough. They eat too much of the wrong thing. It becomes addictive, that healing. All of a sudden you're excited about it. You're no longer going, well, how long do I need to do this for? Like, is this a diet? You actually become hooked on healing. And I think the most exciting part is how quickly you start healing, because then it's like, whoa, I didn't know my body could do this. And a lot of the women that I work with have been bedridden. Actually, when I am introduced to them, I'm able to help them get back onto their feet and come off pharmaceutical medication. And that's where the essential oils are incredible, because there's plants out there. I mean, that's what medicine actually came from.
Right.
But unfortunately, our medicine system is also broken. It's more synthesized, factory made than farmed. And so it really is just going back to your roots, doing things how they did thousands of years ago, and getting fast results. And when you get fast results, it's like driving a Ferrari. I mean, come on. You don't get
Yeah.
excited because it's slow.
Oh.
And you can maintain them and you can sustain it. That's the difference. It's sustainable. I mean, I lost a total of 30 kilos and I've kept it off for 4 years, and I've relapsed. I've had surgery since then. Like, stuff has happened, but my body's bounced back and it's retained its shape, and I have all day energy regardless. And so, yeah, once you do it, once you rewire the body, it's got you.
So you said you had back surgery. Now,
Yes.
was this during your, had you already discovered all this stuff?
So when I was 19, I got knocked over by a motorbike, and that kind of just set the tone for my back. And over the years, being very active and stuff, eventually my spine just got worse and worse, and the disc completely dislodged and severed the spinal cord and the nerves down my legs, which is why I was paralyzed. And the doctors said, oh, you're 31 years old, but you have a back of a 50-year-old. You have degenerative disc disease. You're going to be in for another op in 6 months. And I was like, I'm out of here. Cheers. And that was the last time I saw them. And then when we moved here, I was constantly in pain everywhere. And I went on a journey and I was like, no, I'm going to find out exactly why I still have this back pain. Like, what's going on? It must be that back op that I've been dodging for so long. And I then had an MRI done of my spine, and the neurologist said, your spine is perfect, like a little bit of wear and tear, but they showed before and after, and I was like, are you sure this is my spine? How can I have healed a severed spinal cord? And she says, well, that's how it is. In fact, the inflammation was actually endometriosis. It had nothing to do with my spine.
Mm.
And so that's when I realized that I'd actually done some incredible healing on my back as well. It's like, wow, this is amazing. And then I reverse engineered it. What was I doing? Frankincense, myrrh, peppermint. Those are mitochondrial uncoupling oils. Mitochondria are in your gut. And if you fix your mitochondria, well, mitochondria is it's a whole long thing. But when you fix your gut and you fix your cells on a cellular level, your body has the ability to heal other elements like your spinal cord. And in their stem cell therapy. So the oils actually helped. The plant botanicals actually helped me reproduce my cells, which then kind of gave a new army of healing cells that went off into the rest of the body. And I mean, then when I got the x-rays and the MRIs and all the blood work and stuff, I mean, I feel great, look great, but that's tangible. And I was like, wow, the body. So I'm still studying. I'm always studying every day. But the body truly is magnificent when you give it the tools to heal. Without doing anything invasive. You don't need to go and do like stem cell therapy, and which costs $150,000 or some ridiculous number. You don't need to do those types of things if you just use good old Mother Nature, her medicines and nutrition, and you understand what your gut looks like. So you use your DNA to do that. You have a perfect partnership.
Well, we are Mother Nature, technically,
We
right?
are. We come from Mother Nature. Yeah, we are actually built to work with Mother Nature. That's why it works so well.
Right?
That's
Yeah.
why it
We have
works so
receptors
well.
and things that say, hey, put some Mother Nature in me and I'll help you do something.
That's one way
Right?
of putting it. Yeah, that's one way of putting it. So yeah, that's why I like to say I'm in partnership with Mother Nature.
Lovely, lovely. So you had endometriosis and IBS when you were younger. Did
Yes.
you always have IBS?
So I was born with gut issues, and by the age of like 5, 6, it was really, really bad. And obviously that's the early 80s. So what do you know then? And I was then told when I was 19 that it was wheat and dairy and all those things. And so obviously cutting out those things did help. But what I then came to learn when I did my own biomarkers, that was November 2021, it came up that I was actually very low on key bacteria strains in the gut. And now we have over 500 bacteria strains in the gut, but there are a number of core, like main primary bacteria that produce all these other bacteria. And so I was taking like really expensive probiotics and eating sauerkraut and doing all this crazy stuff, thinking, well, it's going to help because it made me feel a bit better. But then when I researched, but I'm lacking, I'm not going to say all the different words of the bacteria strains, but when I then locked that in and took those ones, it was like, yeah, the Ferrari of programs. Things just sped up so much quicker. And I haven't had IBS since 2020, even though I was on morphine for 2 months. At the end of 2021, I got very sick. I was in a stressful job at the time that I was working for another company and just not taking care of my health as much. And stress is a killer, inflammation. And so endometriosis just went through the roof, and I landed up in hospital again, had a very, very serious surgery, almost lost everything inside, but I made sure to sign a whole lot of disclaimers beforehand that I'm not giving up my body parts. And they then said, oh, well, no, you're going to be back for more surgery. And that was the last time I saw them too. And when I locked it in and I took those bacteria strains, it's just like I knew it was the missing key, because all my symptoms, my body just handled so much better. I mean, I was on morphine for 2 months. Usually that would have just set it off. Like IBS would have been back. And I didn't have any of those symptoms. So I really by then knew, okay, I haven't tested my bacteria yet because lockdown was only just really lifting, but I'm onto something here. And then the moment I took those certain bacteria strains, and also in that same test, I was able to see which healthy foods I was eating that were keto friendly, meaning high fat, low carb, healthy for you. They were organic, but I was actually sensitive to them. My gut was, and I didn't know. And so the moment I locked all of that in, it was just like my body was primed. And since then, I just make sure, I mean, every year I do that same test just to make sure that I'm on top of things. But yeah, IBS was the longest that I had I mean, I'm 44 this year. So I had that since about the age of 5, and then endometriosis since the age of 23, but I lived with it for 7 years prior to that. And then from then, all the other health issues just kind of stacked up on top of one another because of my lifestyle, pharmaceutical medication every day, pain meds for the back, just never ended. But it was exciting coming off all of that because it really does mess with your mind, messes with your weight, messes with everything, really. I mean, look, there's times that I still need medicine, but it's Here's my home apothecary, my home medicine, Mother Nature in my cabinet, and I have my protocols that I make myself. So if I'm feeling a bit anxious, because I had anxiety all my life, really, when is the next flare up going to come? I'm able to dip into my oils. I'm able to dip into certain botanical protocols, just to kind of, because that's something that I might always have. You know, I'm highly strung. I run a business. I'm always on the go, and I know that if I don't manage my stress, cortisol rises, estrogen plummets. It's not plummets, progesterone plummets, estrogen increases, then endometriosis is back. It's like a domino effect. But
Right.
now I know which pieces are the integral ones to kind of just maintain so that
Right.
everything else is streamlined,
Yeah, it's like a
smooth.
really nice piece, a puzzle, but once in a while you might be missing a little piece of that and you need to
Hmm.
make sure you
Yeah, because
continue.
it happens. I mean, we don't live in a bubble. I love whiskey now that I live in Scotland. I used to love wine, all the time, with all my meals. In other words, all the time. It makes me sound like an alcoholic. With every meal, love a good glass of wine or two, and I learned that that was also affecting my estrogen. And now that I'm living in Scotland, well, you know, the country of good whiskey, and so I don't. I just want everyone out there to know that life is short, and you need to be able to enjoy it and live it to your fullest, and have that cake and eat it too, and not feel guilty. I think that's a big thing. When
Yeah.
we live constantly going, oh, I shouldn't have had that alcohol. Oh, I shouldn't have had that. Ah, come on. Like, learn how to rather prime your body so that it can handle that. Because there's going to be times where I feel crap, but I know how to get back up. Like, that's the art, I think. That's what's exciting about it. That's
Yeah.
why it's called the bounce back body.
It's
The bounce
awesome.
back body blueprint
Yeah,
helps you
I'm
bounce
sure there's so
back.
many people. Yeah, lots of people I'm sure will want to know about this because it's right. Like we are busy people. Life is
Yes.
busy, right? We want to
Yeah.
get on it, get better, get going, and maintain it and stay there. Now, what
Yes.
about when people go into menopause? There must be a big shift with hormones.
Yes, absolutely. So that's also where it got exciting. It evolved because a lot of the women I was actually working with in 2021 were already entering menopause, and some were post-menopause. And I then came to learn that if you just focus on healing the gut, the body's super intelligent, it knows what to do, but you need to make adjustments. So as you start entering menopause, it actually becomes easier, believe it or not. And there's a misconception out there. Everyone goes, oh, I'm hitting the menopause. Oh, there's more symptoms. Just when I thought I knew what was going on, now everything's changed. For women who are no longer menstruating, it's actually way easier because you can do intermittent fasting a lot better. I mean, that's actually a normal thing, guys, but you don't want to do it all the time. So the way to get that right is to synchronize with the lunar cycle, the moon. There's your Mother Nature again. Because we are already, as women, in a cycle, and we use our bleeding days to track. And so day one of your bleed would be day one, would be the new moon. So when it's new moon, that's day one of the cycle. And so I actually create a personalized blueprint when it comes to women. Men, it's easy. They just have testosterone doing every 20 minutes. They're on a 24-hour cycle, which is why women seem insane and crazy, and men just seem like they've got everything together because they don't have all these crazy hormones. But it's even easier for men. But when women get into that cycle of changing their hormones, and there's certain things like women think that their estrogen drops. Well, it does drop when you start getting into perimenopause and menopause and post. But there's women who have estrogen dominance who are in menopause. How do you have too much estrogen if you don't have, like, how does that all work? So the simplest way is get into a cycle. I teach you exactly which foods that you can eat around certain times of your cycle because you need carbohydrates. Yes, I am a certified ketosis diet specialist and health coach, and I've done all that jazz. But keto is not good for you every day, just like fasting is not good for you every day. There's a time and place for everything. And so when you get into that cycle, your body harmonizes itself. It's like, oh, it just does it. It works on its own as long as you get into that cycle. So it doesn't matter what age or stage of your cycle you're at. I can help you get on track and eat all your favorite foods. So like Tammy, you would say to me, well, actually, Rox, I love eating this and that and this. Okay, cool. Well, I'll build your plan around your favorites. If you don't like Brussels sprouts, I won't make you eat them. But there's certain things out there that are way more nutritious for your hormones that you should rather opt for. And then there's cheat weeks. Ladies, we have cheat weeks, yes, where you can add your cake as well, but you can get away with having a lot more higher carbohydrates because you're less insulin sensitive around those times. So you really just need to understand I'm like a traffic officer, really. I kind of just tell the traffic where to go. And I build it according to how you like to eat and drink and live. And exercise is the other thing as well. You need to be careful as a woman. If you exercise around the wrong times, you spike your cortisol. And if cortisol goes up, progesterone goes down, which forces estrogen up, because estrogen and progesterone are not a seesaw. So if the one is too low, the other one's high. And so it seems all complicated the way I talk about it, but the way I've learned to understand it, it's actually quite clever.
I feel like you're explaining it quite well.
Oh, that's great, because I feel like I'm babbling. So
oh, no, I'm having an understanding. So
good.
Here's a question for
Yes.
women who are postmenopause and they're not having a menstrual cycle anymore. How do we know where they are in their cycle?
So you use the lunar cycle, the moon. And so you would just get them into sync. You just get them back into sync with Mother Nature.
I love this.
I knew you would.
Great.
And if you look back at the research, if you research back in time, now don't quote me here. I was really bad at history at school. Actually, I was never really academic, which is why this whole thing surprised me that I was able to take all this in. But back in the day, when women, I'm talking about very long ago, when women would be in their leading up to their cycle, they would then go into like separate camps where they would nurture, they were looked after because they're here to procreate. Women, they need to procreate. And they said, don't quote me, they said that a lot of the time those women who, when they would come onto their period, it would be new moon. So back then, women were already quite in sync with Mother Nature. And then obviously the food system and everything else kind of broke us down. And so if we just get back into sync with that. So if you're bleeding, it's day one of your bleed, it's obviously day one of your cycle. And for the first 10 days, Dr. Mindy Pelz is an excellent mentor and coach who's taught me so much. If you haven't heard of her, look her up. She actually taught me how to lock in the cyclical element. And that was in 2022, because every year I would learn a whole lot and get great results, and then something would like pull me back. I'm like, what am I missing? And then I learned how to do it in sync with my cycle, and then it just was like taking your cart for a really good old service afterwards, and everything just works the way it's meant to. So yeah, that's how you would tell.
Yeah, see, you're nurturing our inner goddess and helping us get to
There
that
you go.
right
Yes.
back to that cycle. It's so powerful. And I think, we've lost that. We've lost the community of women. We've lost because I know I've heard, read also, when the women would be together, they would all be on their cycle together. And this, communities would
Isn't it? That's exactly it. So if we were boarding with a whole lot of women, or a family would be saying that would happen, and we'd be like, how's this actually working? And no one really thought about it.
No.
There's another book as well, Rushing Woman Syndrome, which doesn't necessarily mean physically rushing. I thought it was like, the woman, fast-paced woman. But that's another book, Rushing Woman Syndrome. I can't remember who the author is. And she just puts it perfectly. Like, as a woman with our power, but we're constantly on the go, doing stuff, taking care of other people, not actually getting into sync, into harmony. And then that really does unleash your power. I mean, we're very powerful as women. We're not just here to survive and procreate.
Yes, it's interesting how society has, led us away from those gatherings, from being a woman. Like now we're made to, get into the corporate world. We're made to do the things that men do, plus all the other stuff women do: have babies, raise them, take care of the home, all these things. I know men are, they're starting to pick up there too, which is fantastic. I mean, so it's good to have extra help and things like that. But I do believe there are, there's certain things that women are definitely intended to do. And if we're not able to, get in tune, be in harmony with ourselves, then we're kind of lost.
Absolutely. And I think that's a lot of the time the women that have come to me for help, that's where they are when we start. They just feel so disconnected. So really, I'm just here to help connect you to you so that you can really be the person you're meant to be. And that's happy all year round, no matter what your age of or stage is in life, and to live symptom-free, pain-free all the time, because it can be done. And for women who are entering, because I mean, I'm 44 now, and they say that you're starting to already get into perimenopause at that age, which I don't agree with. I think we're all different. But women who are looking after their bodies, who are taking care of their hormone health as a priority, are only really getting into menopause in their 50s and maybe 60s. So it can be done, right? But there's a negative stigma attached to menopause. Like,
Yes.
oh, the hot flushes and the memory, this. And I mean, that was one of the things that I lost, was my memory. Was one of the biggest things actually that scared me. Was I was on hormone treatment for about 9 years to keep my period away completely, because they just couldn't stop the bleeding every single time I'd land up in the hospital. And so they were like, well, let's put you into menopause. So I was actually in full-blown menopause at the age of 27. I know what menopause is like. And I thought I was going to lose my mind. I had no memory. I was like shocked. And I was like, no, this can't be it. And so I'm against putting anything that's foreign, that's synthetic, that's going to alter my hormones, because while it does help up front, it's a band-aid. And down the line, I landed up with 30 kilograms extra weight. I landed up with insulin resistance. I landed up messing up my hormones. My hair was falling out. I had all these patches of dark skin around. My body completely broke down from the side effects. And that's why I always tell the women I work with and the men, if you want to do anything in life, make sure you read that little tiny piece of paper that says side effects, and be prepared for when that happens. Don't act surprised. And it can be reversed, and it can be reversed really quickly if you just get on track and let your body heal itself. But that's where you need to obviously understand, and that's where the gut test helps. That same gut test also shows me what your hormones look like. So it'll tell me if you are low in certain hormones, because they work together. So if you're low in one, you're too much of the other. And then we look at all the symptoms. So I'm a symptomatic sign language expert. So I look at the symptoms and I go, well, there's a correlation here. And that's my IT background coming into play. So I'd like to say that I've been able to take my past experience and my corporate 20 years in IT and all that jazz, and I've been able to now apply it methodologically or synergistically with the human healing mechanisms, because it's kind of the same in a way. Our body's like a computer. It's got lots of signals. This is the hardware, and then the software. And if you just figure it out, what it's trying to say, and then you give it those things, and then you just step back and you let it do its own thing. It's incredible. The
Let
body
the
heals
program
itself.
run.
Yeah, you need a reboot. Control Alt Delete.
Totally. So I'm assuming, and this is a big assumption, but you work with people online.
I only work with people online.
There you go. So from anywhere in the world, we can connect with you. Can you tell us how to
Absolutely.
find you?
Absolutely, yes. So that's how it started, and that's how it's still going now. I mean, in Scotland, I've got a couple of people that have come to my home office, but I find that it's just so much easier virtually, because you can from the comfort of your own home. In fact, I don't know if I can say, next week I've got a program that I'm doing for free. I'm actually teaching for the
Please tell
first
us.
time. Yeah, I do. Okay. I do have a link that I can always give you
Yep, put
after
that in the
this as
comments
well.
too. Yep, we'll put all your stuff
Okay,
in there.
brilliant. Yeah, so I'm teaching for the first time, men and women, because usually I only teach this to women, the foundation phase, which is the gut. It's a complete gut reset, because when you figure out your foundational cracks and you get all that right, everything else on top of that just it comes together. So it's a 5-day, it's virtual, it's online, it's not live, because my audience are all over the world. I've got some in Canada, I've got some in flipping Australia. And so for me to try and lock down a live is another thing. So I will give you the information. There's a link where you can register, get the email with the details, but it starts on Monday, the 18th, and it ends on Friday. Every day, one email, one little video, kind of unpacking it, so taking you through the necessary steps of the foundation phase. And then just really sharing a couple of to-dos every day, because there's so much content coming at us that we can sit here and just be in a content coma and never implement anything. So I find if I help people implement with little tiny action steps each day, by day 5, you are already seeing results. Within 5 days, you'll start noticing results just by making small changes. So I'll be doing that next week.
Well, that's exciting. That's I'm going to have to sign up for that one. It's wonderful
Yes,
that it's
please do.
not live because, yeah, people are busy and to be able
Yeah,
to.
I've been trying the lives. I've been doing the lives, and I mean, as much as I love going on camera, I don't mind it actually. For me to be talking to crickets, it's not really my speciality. Like some people don't. I've done lives where no one actually rocks up, and everyone's like, "Oh, can I get the replay?" And then I will email them the replay. I've got this amazing kick-ass system in the background. I'm all around the analytics. No one opens up the emails with the replays, so I'm like, life just gets so busy. We have great intentions. We all want to heal. We all want to do right. We all want. But then life happens. And then before you know it, a month's passed and you haven't done anything. So I've now figured out a way to get the crowds together and to actually just help you, but also help you implement them. So that by day 5, you're actually seeing results. You're like, okay, now I'm hooked. What can I do next?
Great little
And then
steps.
I'll also be giving my daily routine guide, which is my holy grail. It usually comes with my program that you have to pay for. So that's a fantastic way to get you on track. It's a gut reset roadmap, really. And then if you just follow that daily guide, it's also available on a mobile app. I've just partnered up with the world's leading app, the Carb Manager app, which is not just about carbs, it's about tracking everything. And I now have my daily routine guide, which is pretty much from the moment you wake up till the moment you go to bed. It'll tell you exactly what to do, when to do it, because it's not just about what you eat and drink, it's about when you eat and drink it. The body is not just this, take all the vitamins and eat all your healthy food, doesn't matter what time, and as long as you've done it, you'll be healthy. Wrong. It's especially important that first thing that you eat and what time you do it. So I've taken all the guesswork out of it, put it onto a daily routine guide that you just rinse, repeat. And then based on your age, you'll come to learn next week how to just shift things a bit. So a lot of it's educational, but it's easy. It's taking the guesswork out of it because that's not your guys' job, it's mine.
Awesome.
I
Right.
am excited to teach it,
Yeah,
yes.
that's
And now it's available for men too.
right. Yeah, perfect. Well, see, all the women here on Women's Wellness Network can pass it on to their partners, to their
Yeah,
spouses.
because I realized that, like, not just because men need it as well, but as a woman who's married, I mean, when I went through all my issues, my husband was my rock, but he didn't really know how to support me that much because he didn't know what was going on. So if the two of you can dive into it together, you can both learn how to heal and optimize your healing. Well, then the man can be the best support for the woman if he's really functioning to his optimal levels. And it's like something that you can do together. So I'm quite excited. And the same test can work for children, even pets.
Even pets.
Different one though, different test though. But yes, my labs do the whole family.
Amazing. That's everybody can heal together all at the
Yes,
same time.
there
Beautiful.
you go. Happy house, happy wife, happy husband.
Right. Awesome. Well, I want to say thank you so much for coming on today. It was very informative. And
Thank you.
yes, you will have to put all your links in the comments so that people
Yes.
can connect to you. Your course that you're going to be doing starting on the 18th, you said?
Yes, on the
Cool.
18th, on Monday, yeah. So there'll be
Okay.
one link, you just click on it, it'll take you to a landing page where you can put your email and your name, and then you'll get an email from me with the details, with the Zoom. Well, it won't be a Zoom link, I need to change that. The email will actually say what the structure will be, and then every day you just look out for that little video, and then I'll probably jump on live now and then, maybe if there's like a Q&A, if anyone's got questions, and then from there you can just connect with me.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Roxeanne. Very
Tammy,
informative.
thank you for inviting me to be part of this. It's a massive movement, and I'm honored that I can share a message of hope, really, that we are all really built in a miracle. We just need to understand our bodies and what they're saying and what they need.
Most definitely. Well, thank you so much. And thank you, Women's Wellness Network, for tuning in. And if you want to connect with Roxeanne, we will have all the information in the comments for you to, you know, peruse at your leisure, except don't wait too long if you want to get in on the course on Monday, because that's coming up
Yes,
really soon.
yes, definitely
Otherwise,
register before then.
yes, right? Definitely. So everybody have a great day and be well. And Roxeanne, thank you so much.
Thank you.